Good evening. This is Monday, August 18th, 78 days until the 2008 presidential election. If timing is not everything, and tonight there is a report that we may know the timing of when Barack Obama will identify his vice presidential choice, if not who that person will be. If not that, then maybe juxtaposition is everything. Our fifth story on the countdown, at the same time in the campaign that the presumptive Republican presidential nominee ripped the presumptive Democratic presidential nominee for bad judgment about Iraq, the New York Times reminded the nation that John McCain's immediate response to 9/11 was to threaten Iraq and Saddam Hussein. Within hours of the attacks, Senator McCain reciting a laundry list of other countries that supported terrorism, including Iraq, and a month later, Senator McCain warning that Iraq is the first country. By January 2002, telling sailors and airmen on board the deck of an aircraft carrier, next up, Baghdad. Yet today, Senator McCain criticizing his opponent's record on Iraq, ratcheting up his rhetoric in an address to the Convention of Veterans of Foreign Wars, the VFW, criticizing what he called Senator Obama's shifting positions on the troop surge in Iraq, declaring again that Obama wants to lose the conflict because of his, quote, ambition to win the White House.
Senator Obama still can't quite bring himself to admit his own failure in judgment, nor has he been willing to heed the guidance of General Petraeus, one of the great leaders in military history, or to listen to our troops on the ground when they say, as they have said to me on my trips to Iraq, let us win. Just let us win. In short, both candidates in this election pledged to end this war and bring our troops home. The great difference is that I intend to win it first. Behind all of these claims and positions by Senator Obama lies the ambition to be president. What's less apparent is the judgment to be commander-in-chief.
And Senator McCain has no ambition to be president, or he does, and his is good, but Obama's is bad, or he doesn't, and he's being forced to run by nefarious forces. The Obama campaign quick to respond even before the McCain speech, issuing this statement, quote, all his bluster, distortions, and negative attacks notwithstanding, it is hard to understand how Senator McCain can at once proclaim his support for the sovereign government of Iraq and then stubbornly defy their expressed support for a timeline to remove our combat brigades from their country. The difference in this race is that John McCain is intent on spending $10 billion a month on an open-ended war, while Barack Obama thinks we should bring this war to a responsible end and invest in our pressing needs here at home. Time now to call in our own Rachel Maddow, host of the Rachel Maddow Show on Air America Radio. Good evening, Rachel.
Hi, Keith.
Something we talked about before, but how is Senator McCain here not basically accusing Senator Obama of, we'll put the big word out there, treason?
Yeah. Senator McCain and his campaign continue to insist that not only are they not making any sort of accusation like that, but they will refuse to impugn Senator Obama's patriotism. McCain will say things like, oh, I think he's a patriot, and the campaign will assert confidently that they have never and will never attack Barack Obama as unpatriotic. But I think it's hard to imagine any stronger charge against somebody's patriotism than that they would side against America in a war. That's essentially what he is saying, that Barack Obama is against the troops, is against America winning, whatever winning looks like in this war, and that is an accusation of treason.
Is this a straight out of the Karl Rove handbook? You take your opponent's strongest point, and obviously that Obama had opposed this war from before the outset, and try to make that not only into a bad thing, but the worst thing in the world.
And for good measure, change the whole time frame, change the whole sort of locus of data about what we consider relevant when we're talking about the Iraq war, so that we only start thinking back to 2007. We only start thinking back maybe to December of 2006. That the surge becomes the whole war, and Senator McCain's assertion that he was right about the surge somehow becomes the only thing you need to know about him in the war. Looking back at the fact that it was only a month after 9/11 when he was saying that Iraq needed to be invaded. Looking back at the fact that he called the handling of the war magnificent. Looking back at the fact that he not only praised people like Donald Rumsfeld, he insisted that people like Dick Cheney would have a place in his cabinet were he president. When you look at all of that, that's the universe that is relevant for assessing whether or not somebody had the right judgment on Iraq. He wants to reinvent what we think of as the Iraq war while impugning Senator Obama's decisions about it.
And when it goes out to the future, McCain also saying today, good judgment will be at a premium premium in the term of the next president, as we were all reminded 10 days ago by events in the nation of Georgia. What exactly is he implying was his needed good judgment regarding Georgia? Was it knowing which lobbyists could get the highest price out of one of the interested parties in the war?
Yeah, every once in a while, like maybe 300 times a month, something happens internationally that the United States needs to act on or make a decision about or make a smart assessment about without starting another war, without actually dropping bombs somewhere. And right now, Senator McCain has shown a complete inability to digest the fact that America needs some form of power other than military bluster. For one thing, our military is a little busy right now. For another thing, what could the United States do here that would actually help advance our interests? If he's suggesting that we invade Moscow, I'd love to hear him make that suggestion. But otherwise, I'd love to hear him articulate for the first time in this entire campaign, if not the last decade of his political career, what he thinks America should do to restore our standing in the world and our diplomatic and leadership capacity.
And in the interim, how do these people keep failing upwards? How do the same people who made the mistakes about Iraq, made mistakes about not staying long enough in Afghanistan after getting Afghanistan partially right, now facing future mistakes, how are they still in the position to make these decisions?
Because they're never held accountable. Because we keep going back to them for more advice, even though their advice is what got us into the problems we're now looking for advice to get us out of. It's partly the media. It is in large part a way that the Republican Party promotes. Sad.
Rachel Maddow, MSNBC political analyst, host on Air America Radio as well. As always, Rachel, great thanks.
Thank you, Keith.